So, Doc, people listen to us for nonsense, and we give it to them in spades. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. Some would even say, on our best days, malarkey. Braves, defending champs. Boy, it sure would be a shame if there was no season next year and we were just still the defending champs.
Also, this guy that got hit, how old was he?
46.
What a loser, just sissy man. You just got punched in the face by a 90-year-old man? Come on, dude.
I'll bet Doc is like the Sinbad of Ames, Iowa.
Oh,
because people, I didn't realize, I thought it was just a Doc thing with the corn jokes. Iowa people love corn jokes.
Well, you know what they say, knee high by July, baby.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's killing in the Midwest right now. I'm sure when that hits their ears, they're like, that Doc, he gets us.
Doc, what do I love more than anything? That's right, an angry football team.
I prefer to think of Warsaw as like a battle of who's the best saw, right? So you have like a sawzall, you have a skill saw, you have a hacksaw, handsaw. It's just a battle of saws till the death.
Welcome to the Spaghetti Junction Boys podcast, coming to you from the Kutt Bet Studio in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. I am your host, as always, William Q. Hildebrand, and I'm joined here by the ever-ubiquitous Doc Jacobson. Before we get things started, I want to thank our friends over at Kutt. I'm sure you have the same problem as we do, that it's hard to keep up with all the different bets you've made against your friends. Who's paid, who hasn't, what were the terms, on and on. Well, we came across this cool new app called Kutt that formalized that whole process so that you don't have to check the notes on your phone or scroll endlessly through your group chat. It's essentially a better version of Venmo, but for betting, with interactive features that make it more social. It tracks all your bets, allows you to create your own lines, sees your record against your friends, and perhaps, most importantly, ensures that you're paid when you win. Go check them out at kutt.com or Twitter or Instagram at KuttBet. That's Kutt, K-U-T-T. Check them out. They have a giveaway going on right now, and they have something big that they have announced for March Madness. So go check them out. Support the people who support us. Support the good people over at Kutt Bet. Doc, something messed with me horribly the other day. And I texted you late at night because I was so troubled. I was watching a Miami Heat broadcast on NBA League Pass. Don't mean to flex. My father-in-law always says you can't hide money. But at the end of this broadcast on the post-game show, one of the announcers was making a reference to, the Miami Heat have some home games coming up, meaning I won't be staying in hotels and so forth, got to spend some time at home. And he said, I'm able to put that luggage in the garage. I can't stop thinking about that. Every damn day since that happened, about putting luggage in the garage, especially a South Florida garage. I'm pretty sure he lives in Boca Raton. So you have lizards, you have spiders, you have all sorts of things that can just get into your luggage. I don't want to get to a hotel and try to pull socks out of, one of the little cubby holes that they have in there, and I just pull out a wolf spider. Now, that's an asinine place to keep luggage, no?
Yeah, that's the worst. I mean, God forbid you can't have like a soft shell luggage piece in there because of the humidity. You're going to get mildew on it. That thing's going to be destroyed after a week of sitting in your garage.
Mm-hmm.
And let alone, I mean, it's going to start smelling like fumes. You pull your car in, you back it out. If it's, if it's a hot day, I mean, an abnormally humid hot day at this time of year for Florida, you're going to start your car and get that AC cranking. You're just cooking that, that piece of luggage right there.
And he works for an NBA team on television. So he has a little, coin coming his way. So you'd have to think this is nice luggage. And that is no way to treat nice luggage. If you're not using luggage, I mean, sure, you can put it under a bed. If you're one of those people, you put it in a closet. Somewhere, anywhere, but the damn garage. You should have. You're on TV. You got that TV money. Put in a closet somewhere. But you're in a hotel now, and so I have to ask if you're one of the people who keeps their luggage, that keeps all their clothes in the suitcase, or do you take it out and put it in the drawers and hang it up?
I have a stipulation. I usually keep it in my suitcase if it's less than a 2-night stay. If it's a 2-night stay, I take the time to actually hang it up, put it in the drawers, and unload my suitcase. Anything between 2 to 5 nights, however the week hits you. But if it's a 1-night stay, I don't waste the time. It's inefficient. It's just dumb. And a lot of times, some of the hotels I stay at, they don't have the great hooks. You gotta go guide them around, and getting the hooks off to hang up your business clothes are just a pain in the ass sometimes.
You see, it's for me. I don't like putting them in the drawers because I feel ridiculous. I feel like an asshole every time I do, even when I do it and I don't know why. I'm the only one there judging myself, but I'm doing it. But also, if you keep it in the suitcase, it's anarchy, especially if you're there for like a week. Then it's complete and total. What boxers haven't I worn? Am I going to have to do the smell test on my own boxers here? Like, have I worn these clothes before? Have I not? Who knows? Am I just going to have a pile of dirty clothes like it's a sidewalk in New York City? No. So I put them back in there? What do I do with all these things? And it's madness. I don't know how to handle it, and it gives me anxiety each time.
As you know from our countless travels together, if I split a room with someone, I'm just making a pile in the corner. I just don't care. I'm just like, whatever. I leave the drawers and the closet to the person I'm staying with. My stuff can just go in the corner because it's not that important. So
real mensch.
Yeah, just looking out for you guys.
All right. Well, if anyone keeps their luggage in the garage, please message me about this because I already filled up my therapist's hour with it, and that was not money well spent. So I need to talk to somebody about this. So please send me a message on Twitter.
I mean, he's like you said, he's got TV money. Build yourself a closet just for your luggage. Like this guy is crazy.
Especially if someone that travels that much. There's 41 road games.
Yeah.
What are you doing? This isn't surprise travel of like, oh, I rarely use this thing. You use it often. You're fine everywhere with this.
He should never, in the basketball season, he should never put up his luggage. He should always have a go bag ready to go. So he's misleading. It's just false advertisement. He's trying to make you all feel comfy, cozy at home. Oh, I get to stay at home, load up the luggage. No, you have a go bag ready to go. Your luggage is always packed. Come on, guy.
Well, we had a little news happen close to home on Monday. Atlanta Falcons wide receiver Calvin Ridley, who took a leave of absence in the middle of the season to deal with some mental health issues and has been subject to trade rumors to a variety of teams, came out that he has been suspended for the entire 2022 season by the NFL for, quote, betting on games. But I give you that quote as sort of an air quote, as sort of a massive asterisk, because this isn't a fixing game situation. This isn't what Evander Kane was accused of. This isn't what Pete Rose was accused of. This is after he took a leave of absence. And as someone who frequently bets, the best time to bet is when you're not in a great place emotionally and personally. But also, what's crazy about this, and the reason that they're doing this is they want to draw a hard line in the sand as they get more and more in bed with betting partners because they want to protect the integrity of the game. But as many people have pointed out, you have two teams, the Miami Dolphins and Cleveland Browns, who are currently accused of trying to lose games. Now, putting a team on the field that's horrible enough that you're just by proxy going to lose games, looking at you, Detroit, is different than saying, hey, go lose this game. But he didn't have any inside information. Like, he's not dropping a ball intentionally. Do you think he really has the cachet to call his teammates, the 53 guys going out there on Sunday, to say, hey, I have a little scratch on this game. Could you throw this? I have a very short window to play. No, I'm not going to throw this for you, Calvin Ridley. Like, that's not even the accusation, is that he's trying to get this, but that's what they're implying with it. And to make it even worse, it was a parlay. How the hell do you fix a parlay? Really, I'm asking you, because I'll do it. I don't care. Let me know how I can fix a parlay. It's impossible. Like, he's betting multiple legs. I saw someone, I don't know if it's true or not, say it was a 5-leg parlay. Basically, you're just throwing your money away on 5-leg parlays. You cannot possibly fix that, especially from your sofa. It's asinine.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the story and I was like, oh shit, I guess maybe he took his leave of absence because he was gambling and he got caught up and got caught or something. Which usually I take a leave of absence from gambling because my mental state is so bad. It's just destroyed. So I do the opposite of what Calvin Ridley does here. But I mean, it's almost like a non-issue anymore. Why are we talking about this? This is dumb.
A year. It's crazy. And you know what's one of the shittiest parts about this? The way he was caught is one of the betting partners with the NFL has, a little narc agency within them that told the NFL on Calvin Ridley. And so they essentially, like, when the NBA bubble had that hotline about, like, hey, I saw LeBron James getting froyo, suspend his ass.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they have with this betting thing. And come on, man.
You can't online bet in Georgia. Like, was he out of state? We need more information on this.
So apparently that's one of the ways he got caught was they found out he was in another state but was betting through a legal betting service in Florida.
Okay.
But it's still abject nonsense. And one of the things that makes the NFL look especially bad, which, man, is the NFL good at looking bad. Their PR department is, I'm guessing it's like those old like TV shows about a police station that has like one sheriff and then a deputy who like falls asleep while the keys are able to be reached by a prisoner. I imagine that's what the PR department is. Either that or it's a bunch of people just really stressed out, like Ted from Scrubs, just like, oh my God, can you please just let me have a Tuesday? Like, just let me have a day. Don't throw something at me because I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how to advise you. I'm still dealing with the other stuff. Because beyond the fact that the NFL is fully getting in bed with betting services, which the red zone, come on, that's not for people who need high octane content. That's for gamblers.
Yeah.
Oh, it's for fantasy football? Guess what I put on fantasy football? Money.
Yeah.
But to make it even worse is when you start, and a lot of people have been doing this on Twitter, is comparing it to other suspensions. When you compare it to domestic violence suspensions, when you compare it to drug and performance-enhancing drug suspensions, when you compare it to different things that involve player safety, but you're just like, hey, Calvin, you taking this parlay, much worse than X guy who did that X horrible thing in his free time. And it happens when you're policing morality. This has nothing to do with the integrity. They're trying to piece it together as the integrity, but it's them playing the moral police again. And it reminds you of the NCAA, where the NCAA drops the hammer on Mizzou for using tutors to do too much schoolwork, who drops the hammer on Ohio State on the tattoo thing, who drops the hammer on Ole Miss for letting a guy sleep on a sofa. But then you have the Baylor stuff, and then you have the LSU stuff, and we're waiting. And when you decide to start being your own police and delve out this suspension for how long for this, and this punishment and how severe for this, you're going to look pretty shitty every now and again. And your priorities are going to look a lot worse than you actually want them to look when it comes down to these things. And suspending the guy a year for betting on parlays? I mean, my God, suspend him nothing. Tell him don't do it, and he'll probably be like, fine. He apparently bet $1,500. That's nothing to him. It's just tell him to knock it off. And if you find out he's betting against the Falcons whilst playing the game for the Falcons or deciding to sit out at the last minute, then go and punish him something like this when it actually has to do with something regarding the integrity of the game. Don't give me this shit. It's nonsense.
And for both of those institutions to preach integrity when they are nonprofit organizations, which is the funniest terminology I've ever heard for those two institutions, it's just, you don't have a moral compass. What are you doing? How are you, policing your guys and missing so badly? I mean, you are a corporal punishment on Calvin Ridley, but then you've got all of the situations in the past, Ray Rice, Greg Hardy, like all of that stuff. And it's a 2-game suspension, I mean, granted, Ray Rice got kicked out of the league, but it's just crazy.
I mean, the NFL operating as a nonprofit for as long as they were is one of the funniest things in all of sports. The people who think that, it's so bad that churches are tax exempt. The NFL.
That's why they own Sundays.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Speaking of the NFL, one of the faces of the NFL, the reigning 2-time MVP, Aaron Rodgers, announced today that he is going back to the pack. Now, there were some erroneous reports that Pat McAfee shot down, which, as a side note, as a former journalist, I really love when unorthodox sources are able to claim things, but we're still at a place where people, like I saw the sighting of Aaron Rodgers is back with the Packers, says Jeremy Fowler in NFL Network. Like, come on. It was Pat McAfee, just say it. And big outlets really hate doing that, is giving the credit where it actually lies. But that aside, Aaron Rodgers said that he wanted to make the decision around the franchise tag deadline and so forth and before free agency opens because his situation affects a lot of different Packers, Devontae Adams, Rasul Douglas, on and on. And he did. And so they're still working through the numbers. They're going to lower his cap and so forth. And the thing that I find really obnoxious about some of the narratives that have gone on, and we've trashed Aaron Rodgers. Everyone knows how I feel about him as a player. Everyone knows how Doc feels about him as a player because he's a Vikings fan. And I think it was last week, compare him to a multi-level marketing candle and crystal salesperson. But I want to give him credit on this front. And I've long been confused by fans who get angry with guys when they leave or when they hold out for more money. Like Paul George was a guy who caught flack for leaving the Pacers as he did. And we've seen that happen with a lot of NBA players where you're coming out of college and you're good at something. If you're an accountant and as you're graduating from college, imagine you're from Atlanta and all of a sudden it's just like, hey, congratulations. This firm in Bismarck just picked you up. Like, I don't want to go live in Bismarck. It's like, well, too bad. You have to be there for 4 years, and then you may be able to decide where you're going. I kind of like to force my way out of Bismarck. And so I've never faulted players for wanting to leave and go to their more preferred locale after they've been drafted by a team and so forth. Or a coaching change. I'd like to go. A different boss in your industry means something. And I've seen a big narrative about Aaron Rodgers today that said, oh, so it's just about money. So it's just about money, which is a very incomplete way to look at this because he did say he didn't like the way that management did some things. And so he had qualms with management. But there's a reason they say money talks. Because what is a job ultimately? Someone who's trying to make money in what they do, so they pay you some of that money to help them make more money. You show up to work and do something you're good at. But if they said, hey, we'd like to make you the highest paid person to ever do this in the history of this industry if you stay here, I would say, treat me as shitty as you want. Make me the highest paid person. I don't care. And so it probably wasn't about money. This wasn't some facade, I don't think. This wasn't a ruse by Aaron Rodgers of, oh, he actually was happy, but he's just playing his cards right to make more money. No, it's more money makes you happier. If someone's going to pay you an insane amount of money, it can be a lot of things. It's sort of like how they say in sports that winning cures locker room problems. Money cures a lot of problems. Make him happy with that money. And also, this shows 4-year contract big commitment. We still don't know the exact numbers, but it's going to be a big guaranteed money commitment. What he wanted from them was their commitment. He felt like that was lacking when they drafted Jordan Love, didn't approach him about it, and for God's sakes, traded up to take Jordan Love. It feels like you're being pushed out the door. Someone aggressively pursues your replacement. Yeah, you don't terribly feel wanted. He feels wanted now. Like, I just don't understand how you can criticize this aspect.
Yeah, I don't criticize, wanting the money. I just think that he went about it the wrong way. He should have held out. He should have just put the Packers in a terrible situation so that my Minnesota Vikings could have a better chance against beating the Green Bay Packers. That's the only thing I care about. I agree with everything you said. I do want to see what the number is going to be because he's going to be the highest paid player in the NFL. I mean, whatever the number comes out to be.
And he's getting old.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, he's 2-time MVP, but yeah, he's getting up there, and it'll probably be close to Mahomes' money or surpassing Mahomes' money. And again, I'm fine with it. Get paid what you're worth, especially in that sport.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
and at that position too, and that position.
Yeah, look at Alex Smith, career over in an instant. You look at tons of guys who just shred their ACL. Who, like, your career could end so quickly. You get one concussion, and then you get another concussion, and so forth, and you have to quit that sport. And Steve Nash, when he was with the Lakers, and the Lakers were bad, and he was bad for them, had a bunch of fans and I think some media asking him about retiring. And he said, I'm never going to make this much money again. Are you kidding me? And so owners can own a team until the day they die. Coaches can coach as long as they want until they're forced out because they're geriatric. GMs, president of football operations, you can be in those jobs for a long, long time. Unless you refuse to eat strawberries, you have a pretty short shelf life in the NFL. So go and get your money while you can. Because if you're outplaying your contract, they're not going to come to you and say, here's a raise, unless they're afraid you're going to leave. But if you're playing below your contract, they will cut your ass. They will trade your ass. Even if they have to eat some dead money, they will get rid of you. Look at Kyle Van Noy, okay? He has been cut sort of by surprise to him 2 consecutive years by the Dolphins and now the Patriots. So go and get your money while you can. Like you said, if you have to hold out, hold out. It's like, it again comes down to why are people saying like, oh, I'll take the owner's side on this. You signed a contract. So what? Do you use the you signed a contract thing when a guy signs a 5-year deal and they cut him after 2?
No, I mean, Aaron Rodgers holds all the cards. If the Packers don't make this deal, it's a runaway bride situation. I mean, they're just running away. They're from the union. That's their fault.
What's fantastic about the whole Rodgers situation is not only is he dominating sports media, he's dominating entertainment media because he and his fiance had some pictures taken together at David Bakhtiari's wedding, his offensive lineman out in California, which I'll be honest, I have no idea who she is. I know she's an actress, but I had never heard of her until she got engaged to Rodgers, and I have no idea what she's been in. But I know, when I searched Aaron Rodgers on Twitter, half of it was, what will the contract numbers be? And other parts of it were like, are he and Shailene back together? And I just thought that was beautiful synchronicity on Twitter. But not only was he at David Bakhtiari's wedding, Doc, he officiated it, which that had to be one of the weirdest damn ceremonies because he's very quiet when he speaks. Sometimes he'll take long pauses. Sometimes he has that gasping sort of gargly collecting of his words. And it got me to thinking, who would I, and I've already been, I am married. And so I've missed my golden opportunity. But you, Doc, you still have a wedding upcoming one day. And so I wanted you to make a list of who would be on your list of sports figures to officiate your wedding. And I've put together a list of my own. I figured we could do a snake draft right here. And because I am a gentleman, contrary to what every single person who's ever met me has said, I'm a gentleman. And so I will let you go first in the snake draft.
All right, snake draft. We're going to start it off here. Number one, I'm doing a package deal. All right. We're getting a 2-for-1. Let's go 2-for-1. We're going crazy. I'm having Cy, the Cyclone Cardinal mascot bird, chatting away with Seneca Wallace being his as an interpreter, so that we can get a nice, just smooth run. But we got that bird just chapping away, and Seneca Wallace will be off on the side, and his glorious, luxurious voice will just be saying the words that need to be said. But we got Cy up there looking like a dubbed-over German flick.
So wait, is this the opposite of when there's a person doing sign language?
Yes.
So usually they're off to the side, but now you have the silent person up front.
Yes, exactly.
Where the mascot is just flapping his mute beak.
Yep.
And then you and your bride have to turn and hear Seneca Wallace say, what he said is, will you take...
No. We don't turn and look at Seneca. He's doing all the animations that he does as a mascot as he's officiating it, but Seneca's walk is like it's dubbed over. It's Seneca Wallace's voice.
Okay. So for my first one, I'm going to take the round mound of rebound, Sir Charles Barkley. Listen, if you've listened to this podcast long enough, you know that I love Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is my dream guest for the podcast, and I want to talk to him about anything other than basketball. And Charles Barkley officiating a wedding is, I just don't think you could top that. He was far and away my number one. I was a little worried Doc would take him. Thank God Doc is so laser focused back in his home state of Iowa. Because, would you knuckleheads like to take this other knucklehead? Come on. Charles Barkley, he will get distracted. He will give you an anecdote. He will say something politically incorrect that will offend someone's aunt on one of the sides of the aisle. I'm all for Sir Charles. So he's number one for me. Number two, I'm going to stay on the same NBA on TNT set. Give me the big Aristotle. Give me Superman himself. Give me Shaquille O'Neal. There was a tweet that was a video from a long time ago that went viral again on Monday night of Shaq talking about filling up your gas tank, arguing with Kenny Smith about ways to save money or I guess headache at the gas pump and so forth. But Shaq, another iconic voice, just like Charles. And the pictures that I can imagine of myself and my bride with Shaq in between us is just fantastic. And also, I think, because we've seen Shaq is he paid for someone's engagement ring. We saw that video going around and so forth. So I think Shaq would just take a look around the wedding and be like, this is nice, but I really think we should spruce this up a bit, and would just provide something for the wedding as well. And so all of a sudden, what sort of food stations have we since added? What sort of musical act has been kicked up a notch? Shaq, he's not leaving. Shaq is there for the party. So he's gonna marry us, and then he's going to break it down. And so we're gonna have Shaq dance, and we're gonna have Shaq at the buffet table. We're gonna have Shaq just meshing with all the guests. I'm all about Shaq Diesel. So give me Barkley, give me Shaq.
Shaq's a great pick. He was on my list. That is a crossover that we do have all the same things you said. That's a big hit. That was going to be my next pick, so that is tough. The other reason I went with Cy as the officiant, Cy was at my parents' wedding in Ames, Iowa when they were in college. So a little nostalgia there as well.
Lineage.
My second pick here is going to be Randy Moss, one of the greatest catchphrase guys in the game. Great Viking, one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. He's going to be going to catch that bouquet just to piss everybody off because he's his own man. When he brings you a present, it's going to be straight cash, homie. When he asks you,
great call.
Doc, do you take this woman to be your wife? Come on, man. It's all going to get,
if you have one little pause or a hiccup,
yeah,
it's going to hit you with the come on, man. Everyone will laugh big time.
He'll probably even try to like steal the first dance with my wife and be like, "You got mossed." So pick number 2, Randy Moss. Pick number 3, we're going into a realm that in the pre-show we talked about. This is a fictional athletic character. I'm going Kenny Powers. Talk about a showman. La Flama Blanca. I mean, he is going to be all over the place. Fireworks, American flags. You are going to have dinner, a show, and a party. Because we all know Kenny Powers can party. He might show up on a ski-doo if you're anywhere near a body of water. Hell, it could be a lake outside or a pond, and he's going to show up on a ski-doo. Talk about an entrance. I mean, we get all these viral videos of wedding party entrances. Give me Kenny fucking Powers entering in as my officiant. And that's the win right there.
Yeah, the entrance, that's gold. So for my next 2, both are strictly for their voices. Calais Campbell, NFL defensive end. Now, if that seems out of left field, you haven't heard Calais Campbell talk. The Dan Le Batard show described it as a friendly monster years ago, and that is exactly right. It is very deep while still like a little shaky in certain points. And it's like James Earl Jones if James Earl Jones was still going through puberty in his 30s. And so I just really need that Calais Campbell voice. It makes me feel warm inside. It's like when you put that first sip of bourbon down, that's the warmth that you feel from Calais Campbell. The next one is that I'm going to close out with Ben Scully, retired broadcaster, radio voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Vin Scully, iconic voice. There's certain broadcasters that you hear talk that you could say, it's sort of like Morgan Freeman. All I want to do is just hear you talk. Read me the back of a shampoo bottle. I don't care. Vin Scully's voice is phenomenal. And he's so good at finding the perfect breaks in his monologues. And so if you get Vin Scully, he's going to crush it. You don't need to write down on the sheet, pause for effect, pause for this, pause for this. He knows. He just innately has that. He has the goods. Give me Vin Scully, classic, iconic. And if Vin Scully's there, every older person at that wedding is going to just have to hastily put an extra 0 on that check because they're going to be tickled to death. They're like, Vin Scully's here? I remember when he was calling that Duke Snyder home run in 1956. And so this must have cost a lot. Extra 0 on the checks. More money, baby.
Love it. Sticking into that, somebody that just knows how to control, the microphone, just knows how to dictate and orate in a perfectly beautiful way. I was just thinking that's how I want to round this out. And I had a little gray area on you too here because I'm not your typical guy.
You live in those areas.
I'm going Stone Cold Steve Austin. Opens up, double beer smash, you're going. You get up to the after party. What? 1 beer. What? 1 beer. What? 1 whiskey. I mean, so many uses there. You don't even have to write your vows. He'll write them for you. I mean, the guy is a magician on a microphone. You go back to any of the bad boy eras of wrestling and you watch him on a microphone, it's awesome. His best stuff is off the microphone because he's swimming in a pile of beer. He's coming up with the fire hose and spraying guys. It's just going to be shenanigans at this wedding. I think when I realized I just want a showman or some shenanigans to go down at my wedding just to spice it up a little bit.
As someone who's met and heard stories about some of your relatives, I don't think Stone Cold Steve Austin kicking things off is going to hold anyone back. That's just going to open the floodgates. I mean, then you get him up there giving, sort of that wrestling talk, talking about your bride's former boyfriend, saying, hey, Steve, I'm coming for you. Mark, I heard about you. I'm going to see you in the parking lot. And so then you just feel like, all right, Steve's got my back and he's marrying me. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. You pointed me down to a T there, buddy.
Real quick, what were your 2 extras? Shaq was one of them.
Shaq was one of them, and then we're a live mascot podcast, obviously. So Air Bud, God, that would have been beautiful. Air Bud officiating in a similar situation. I would have had to have thought of on the fly with Seneca Wallace dubbing over Cy, because somebody's going to talk for the dog. But I mean, dogs are awesome. We're a live mascot podcast. We've interviewed a dog mayor. There was another dog mayor that just took over a town in Minnesota. So why not? Let's have dog officiants. We always have all those, great viral videos of dogs bringing in the ring or being the flower dog or whatever. Let's let them officiate. Why are we holding dogs back?
That's a good point.
And everyone's a genius.
I had 4 extras. I had Coach D'Amato from Any Given Sunday.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's where I was gonna do just like 5 names of great, fictional coaches with great speeches. Tommy Lee Jones and Friday Night Lights. But I stayed away because I was like, that's just there's too much there. I could get too deep. But that is a great Al Pacino too. That voice. Oh man.
I also had another fictional character on there, Pedro Serrano from Major League, because if I have one regret about my wedding, it's that there weren't enough animal sacrifices there, and so he would just clear that up right off the bat. Another one, Mike Trout, because baseball's Q scores are so low, it's likely that most of the people there wouldn't recognize Trout, but then years later I could say, hey, I had the best baseball player ever officiate my wedding. And then Messi. I had Messi on there, not because I'm a big soccer or if you're a cultured football guy, but rather Messi is one of the greatest soccer or football players of all time, yet I would tower over this guy. So people are going to be like, hey, look at this world-class athlete, and look how good the groom looks next to him. I mean, he looks much stronger, much taller than this guy, and this is a world-class athlete. Wow, that groom's in great shape. So hey, it's all about looking out for number 1 and number 2 here, buddy.
You could have a twin situation, too. You could Shaq and Lionel Messi.
Ooh. I'll do it like the Whose Line Is It Anyway, where they'd alternate words while telling the story. On and off.
Just improv your wedding. Yes, and.
Or I'll have Messi do the Spanish version. So people be looking around like, I don't see anyone here listening to the Messi part of this. Why did he feel the need to have a very expensive Spanish-speaking officiant? So I want to close out tonight by talking about a story. And if you know me well enough, you know my favorite stories are obviously Florida men. Well, we go to Flagler County, Florida, where a man was pulled over last Tuesday for going 50 miles an hour in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. When he was pulled over, he had a bit of a back and forth with the police officer, and he finally decided to, quote, tell the truth. And he said the reason for his speeding, quote, I just found out that Putin just said he's going to launch nuclear thermal war against the world, and I was trying to get back to my house to find out what's going on. Now, I'm all for this excuse. There was one time on an airplane, I get very annoyed with people right when it lands who get into the aisle and start walking toward the front because they're the scum of the earth. And I had one lady tell me when I gave her flack about it, said, I have somewhere to be. To which I replied, we all have somewhere to be. That's why we're on a plane going somewhere. Now, when you're speeding, sometimes people just like to speed for the thrill of it. Sometimes people just like to speed to feel something. Sometimes they get impatient. Sometimes they're in a bad mood. But sometimes, like if you're picking up food before a big game, you're like, I got to get back for kickoff. You have some places to be. Hey, you're late for work. Hey, you got to get here, there, blah, 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 blah. I'm all for this excuse. And if it's good enough, that's why I'd make a really bad cop. One of many reasons is I would just be like, you said a nuclear thermal war? Oh, yeah, I might try and clock out. I got to check that out as well. Can I follow you home? Can I watch this on the TV with you? Because that's a pretty good excuse if that is about to happen. I mean, if someone's about to drop a nuclear bomb, you might want to be in front of a TV for that.
Well, the best excuse to say is you're dropping another kind of bomb, and that'll give you carte blanche to get home as fast as you want. You just got to act real frantic. Be like, dude, I'm gonna take the Browns to the Super Bowl, if you know what I'm saying, right here in my car. When you first sent me this, though, I thought this was man was rushing home to see Putin declare war to go to Russia to go join his side. Like, I was taking it one step further. I was like, this is a Russian oligarch that's in our midst. That is just trying to get home to get packed up and ready to go fly out to Russia to fight. Or Ukraine. I think it was maybe Ukraine. Whatever. Same thing.
Having the panic of having to go to the bathroom and being nowhere near a bathroom is the great equalizer among mankind. Because you could be the most prejudiced of person against someone's, race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, whatever. But even that kind of person would just be like, oh, you got to do that? Yeah, you should probably get going. Because, one, you don't want to be there when that happens. You don't want to be in the presence of that. You don't want to, like, if I walk into a bathroom and I hear, like, someone having a moment in there, I'm out of there.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a party to that. Because that's going to affect numerous senses of yours, and I want no part of that. But also, everyone can empathize. Everyone's been to an Indian restaurant before, and so you just say, "Hey, get on out of here." I get it. There's no other excuse. You're right that you could give that would be more understandable than that. Like, you could say, "Hey, my wife just went into labor." It's like, all right, buddy. Well, labor, that can be 12 hours. So you can take your time. You'll get there when you get there. All right. You should have ridden in the ambulance. But that, even a cop's just like, buddy, I have coffee and donuts every day. You get going. You get out of here. You go take care of business, pal.
The only way that the wife being pregnant works is if it's Ricky Bobby style and she's in the back seat.
Yeah. She's got to be in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last time I got pulled over for speeding, the cop was asking me for a reason, and it was almost like he was just hoping I'd give him one. But I don't know if I disappointed him or if he appreciated my honesty, but I just told him the truth. I said, I have nowhere to be. It just got away from me. Because I just realized that I was going too fast when I saw the blue lights. Yeah. Like, it wasn't, oh, I'm making great time, I'm going 90 and a 70. It was just like, well, blue lights. Oh. Fast. I will say one story about when this happens. And Ben is currently south of the border, down in Mexico for the week. But Ben, and I don't know if he'll like me telling this story or not. Ben was speeding one time over a decade ago, long before he dealt with being the man at the face of the law. And we were on our way down to Florida, and I woke up from a nap to the cop at the window. I was in a deep sleep in that car, but I woke up and the cop asked where he was headed at that rate of speed. And to be clear, I don't think he was going anything crazy. But Ben just said, oh, we're headed to the beach. And we were like in South Georgia or something. So we were still hours and hours from the beach. But he said that we were driving to the beach, which is ostensibly true. And the cop was just like, oh, all right, I get it. And gave him a warning, which I thought was just fantastic. That the cop was like, yeah, beach days, man. You got to make sure you get there when you get there. Soak up that sun, pal. Get on your way. I won't be stopping you anymore.
Yeah, what a nice cop. Last time I got a speeding ticket, I had to get my sister to the airport in Denver, and we were 3 hours away, and her flight was 8 a.m. in the morning. So I was driving like a banshee out of hell. And, luckily the guy dropped it a couple miles, so I wouldn't have to go back for a court date or anything. But, damn, yeah, that was – probably shouldn't be saying that story. Sorry, insurance.
Yeah, the guy who I told it that it just got away from me, he gave me a warning too. I was.
Yeah, I got screwed, but I was flying.
I did.
Those Colorado mountains, dude. You go neutral from the top and start going 15 over, no problem.
I got pulled over for tailgating in Utica, New York.
Like tailgating?
He said I was too close to an 18-wheeler, which I didn't feel like I was close, but he said I was too close, and that's why he pulled me over. And this had to be this cop's first ever stop that he did, because he's talking to me, and I was traveling for work. And so I just stopped at like a big rest stop, and because it was the only thing for miles and miles, and I got a couple of slices of the terrible pizza at this, central New York rest stop. And he smells my car and goes, "What's that smell?" And I said, "Oh, I've been eating some pizza while driving." And he goes, "Do you have any contraband in here?" And I said, "No, it's the pizza." And he kept smelling like he was a bloodhound. And I was like, "You sure you don't have any contraband?" I was like, "Yes." Did you think that was going to get me? Like, even if I had contraband, I was like, "Well, since you asked twice, yes." And so he asked for my license and registration, and he asked for me to step out of the car. And this is December in central New York.
Jeez.
And so I'm, I got blood like olive oil. And so I'm freezing my ass off standing outside the car. And he goes back to his car. I don't know why I had to stand outside for him to do that. And he comes back. He goes, "I'm pretty sure you have contraband in the car." I don't know what I was smelling. I was like, "Oregano?" I mean, they went pretty heavy on the oregano. And he goes, "But I'm going to let you go." Like he was doing me a favor. He's just like, "Okay, either I have nothing in here, or you're a bad cop. Like if you thought I had drugs or guns or whatever in the car, you'd look around the car." But he just said like, "Okay, you and your drugs, get out of here."
Yeah, I mean, that's like one of those lines that they drop. They're like, "Oh, your taillight's out." Like, buddy, I know my taillight's not out. Like, cops get away with so much stuff sometimes. But yeah, he definitely was rookie on the force.
Yes, is that the training they go through? It's like, ask them straight away if they have contraband. If they say no, ask again. Is this like in sales, asking for the sale? Is asking for the contraband?
Yeah, just hoping that they're dumb enough to be like, "Oh yeah, you got me."
Yeah, whoops, forgot about that methamphetamine in the backseat, in the Hardee's bag.
Was this during your were you working like on the road while you're up there? He probably thought, nice car, guy in a suit, middle of the day,
upscale drug dealer,
in the middle of like nowhere, New York too. I'm assuming he's like, "Why is this guy here?" This is a Mexican or Canadian kingpin coming from the north. We got drugs on both borders.
Yeah, you're not getting any of those narcotics into Albany on my watch, buddy. No siree.
You head back to Montreal, you crazy little whippersnapper.
Not with Officer Bar Brady on the case. All right, that's going to do it for us. Don't forget to check out Kutt. Again, they are in beta testing, and so they are taking customers, shoot them a DM on Twitter or Instagram, and get in on the movement. Kutt's a peer-to-peer social betting platform that allows friends and strangers to bet real money on sports, politics, entertainment, and other events electronically. Think of it as a much better version of Venmo, but for betting, a form of platform that allows anyone to bet with a known counterparty, ensuring the winner of each bet will be paid, and has a ton of ancillary features that give it the feel of a social network. Check them out on Twitter and Instagram at KuttBet, KUTTBET, or on the web at www.kutt.com. Check us out on Twitter at SJB Atlanta, or our website, sjbatlanta.com. You can find Doc at SJBDoc. Check out our Instagram at Spaghetti Junction Boys. This video, as are all of our videos, will be available on our new YouTube page. Go and check that out. Subscribe, give us some views, help some brothers out. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week.